All right, so I want to kind of jump off what you was talking about, and I want to go around and ask people, like, why do you think that the rate of single mothers has gone up? Like, what is the cause of it? What do you think is causing so many women to end up being, you know, without a man there in the house? What do you think? No, let's go around.
All right. Okay, that's a very good question.
I know.
And it's a tough one, but I do think us women, we tend to create sort of an illusion and kind of fall in love with a future image and not really realize that we are not with the right partner before we actually get a kid. And I think people end up being single, first of all, because when they have a child, it changes both people. So I can absolutely relate for Auntie when she was saying that she had a kid and then obviously his partner was very abusive and so they have to break up just to be sure that it's going to be better for everyone. But it's not, it basically, she cannot necessarily see, and I don't mean to be offensive or anything, but she not necessarily can see that signs beforehand, because when you have a kid, it changes everything. So I think that's also one of the reasons why there are so many single women with a kid, because they either do it too soon, like they think they can have a kid because they are in that moment in love and they think, yeah, you know, let's have a kid because it will be fun. Some people do it for money. Like in my country, you get like a really big amount of benefit if you have a kid, and the more you have, the more money you get. And people don't actually think in the future that you just load it in depth because you have to pay that back.
I wanna jump on what you said initially, and you said women see like a certain like fairy tale image of the guy.
Most of them, yeah.
Before like it gets serious, and then the guy ends up actually showing his true colors. Because in my opinion, I feel like women are really bad at choosing men. Like consistently make poor choices in men in the first place. You get what I'm saying? And then, you know, whatever it is that attracted the woman to the man, she'll kind of hold on to that, no, regardless of red flags. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then maybe she might feel like, oh, I can have a kid with him, and things are gonna change
Like
because he's the
keep
guy.
him with
Try
a
to
kid.
keep him.
Yeah, that's
He's the
worse.
guy I like. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And yeah, obviously it's not gonna get better. It's actually always consistently gonna get worse. You get what I'm saying? So in my take on things with the whole single mother epidemic, and I'm still gonna go around and get everyone's opinion, but I feel like it's a lot of the time it's like modern women make bad choices in men. Do you get what I'm saying? And then obviously coupled up with that, a lot of us came from single parent households as well. Do you get what I'm saying? So a lot of the women, they have never experienced a man who's given them unconditional love and not expected anything sexual back. They go out in the world, they look for a father figure in the guy that they're dating. The guy's just being a guy.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And then that's it. There you go. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, what do you think?
I think that's partly an issue. What's going on social media currently is that they, like some people, they like, even in general, social media trying to send a message that puts into woman's brain what are the qualities that you should look for. Like what is the quote unquote qualities you should look for in a man before you actually have a kid with the guy. So what I'm trying to say is, and I do apologize that English is my second language.
No,
so
right,
if anything doesn't make sense, that's the reason. But I do believe that women tend to choose really wrong. I mean, obviously, I cannot really speak from that experience because I just come out from an 8 years relationship. And I do believe that I choose the person really well and I picked the right guy. And I know probably many people would think, so then
if he's the right guy, what happened?
I knew you're going to go there. So the thing is, what I can relate to is that people change. And I didn't mean to be the one that changes with a kid on my side. Like realize that I changed, if that makes sense. Like, how should I say? So when I met with my partner, I was 18 years old, right? And going back to your very first question, how was it growing up without a father? I actually grew up without actually a role model of mother. So I'm coming from basically just coming completely alone because I fell in love. I moved to London and I met with my partner. Long story short, I came here because of him. I was with him for 8 years. But because I was so young and so unexperienced in life and in work and in every way, I have to say that throughout the 8 years, I changed a lot. And I realized that I changed mentally, I changed as a person. So I didn't want it to settle down because we somehow just went into different directions. Okay. So that's basically how I could explain that, even though you know that he's the right person, but there are just some own personal changes in yourself. So it just depends on how mature we are to make that decision, I think.
No, definitely. Can I ask, how old are you again? I can't remember.
I'm 26.
26?
Yeah.
Okay, you're not in the danger zone. You're kind of in the danger zone, but anyway.
Danger zone.
What's the danger zone?
Can I just put in there when she said about relating to me? She can't relate to me because she fell in love. She was 18, she fell in love. I had my son when I was 17. I didn't fall in love. I didn't have no choice. That's the difference.
All right, let me ask you this then.
I would put it this far as saying, hang on a minute, I would put it this far as saying that I was groomed. That's why I said, if you think about it, I said, if my dad was there, it wouldn't have happened. If my dad was there. I wasn't in love. And like I said to him, when you're on a flats, you're 10 stories up and the only way out is over, that is not love. I was never in love.
Yeah, but I think
I wasn't in that position to be in love. And that's why I was saying, if my dad was there, it would have prevented it. So it's not like, oh, I was young and I met this guy and I fell in love. No.
Yeah, but it goes back to what I said in addition when I said, well, a lot of these girls grow up and they don't have their dad. This is exactly
that's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So it was two different. It's two.
It's the same thing. You need
it's
fathers,
the same outcome.
but
it's the same
it's a different outcome, but the same thing. You will need fathers, but for different reasons. But
for different reasons.
I wasn't in love.
One thing I would say, Auntie, the age thing does play a factor. The way it sounded before, because I didn't know the age, was
I had my son at 17.
Yeah, I thought you was a woman in your 20s.
No,
You're trying to absolve yourself of responsibility for picking an abusive partner. So that's why
I've only got one son.
I hear it.
I'll put myself in there. Plus, I was on the pill as well. And I wouldn't put myself in that position. So I've got none.
All right, cool. We've ironed that out.
Right.
Next. So, what do you think about it? Like, what's causing all these single mothers to, like, you know?
Nowadays, we've normalized hookup culture and situationships over more formal courting. In the past, when you have kids, you have a proper committed relationship, and then you get married, and then you decide to have kids when you know for sure that you have your person and that you're both financially stable. Nowadays, with dating apps and hookup culture and how people have normalized how easy it is to get abortions, a lot of it comes down to people being irresponsible and having a kid by accident when it's
Can I say hold on? Can I say one thing? Yeah, with that. Really and truly, who's being more irresponsible in that situation? Because there's a thing called the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of women are going for the top 20%. It's actually more 90-10 these days, thanks to social media. So the majority of women are going for that top 10%, whether it's by his aesthetics, his looks, money, status, clout, whatever it is. So who's really being more irresponsible in this current day and age? Is it the men or the women? Because the majority of men are not really getting played like that.
Right. So I would have to say, I'm not being misogynistic, but I would have to say it is the woman who's being more irresponsible, because the women are the ones who have to allow for it to happen. Right. So obviously with accountability, it is always 50-50. Like the 80-20 thing applies more for like the dating market, if that makes sense. But with accountability, it is almost always both sides. But in this case, it's mainly women, because as a woman, like, you can choose whether you want to use protection or not. Like, as a woman, you are the gatekeeper to sex, right? So I would have to say it's the woman.
Bringing a child into the world, definitely. Because I always make this argument that people don't usually say, what if it's a situation where the guy wants to have the kid? If the girl don't want to have the kid, it's not happening, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? So really and truly, when I hear all these single mothers say, oh, he's a deadbeat dad, oh, these ain't shit, bro, like, no, you ain't shit, bro. Because you picked the guy, you opened your legs, you didn't protect yourself, and then even when you ended up, you know, he shot up the club or whatever. I have to say things in a good way, like
That's a good way.
yeah, I know.
Wow.
That's
Was
it.
it?
Shot at the
Bang
club.
bang, yeah. When he shot up the club,
South London and him came out.
trust me, like,
I got to write that one down.
trust me, like the woman can still make a decision. Like, right, I don't want to go through with this. I don't like him. He's a waste man. Do you know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, and I'm not saying it to be horrible, but bro, a lot of these women, they could have prevented their situation and don't start crying because the guy don't want to be involved. The guy probably, bro, it was probably a hookup from Hinge.
Can I just?
You know what I'm saying? Like real talk.